gonna have some we're gonna have some technical difficulties probably, but if not, that's great. If so, it is what it is. But it's our first one, so growing pains. Welcome to the
Nice.
show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell us a little about you, man. Tell us your background and who you are. How'd you got into the business and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. My name is John Buckley, and I own Funnels That Convert. And basically, I specialize in helping coaches, consultants, and course creators sell high ticket coaching programs. And that can be one-on-one coaching, group coaching, can have a component of like an online course or no online course. But it's basically the specialty of selling anything that is $3,000 or more on the internet.
Awesome, cool, man. So how'd you get into the business, man? How do you get in? How'd you get into marketing in general?
Yeah, great question. I always liked writing. My first job out of college was for a very small local newspaper as a reporter. And through the years, I got involved in e-commerce first. And I ended up owning an e-commerce business for about 12 years. We had 4 warehouses across the United States. And by the 10th year, we started running into problems with the business in such a way that we didn't feel like reinventing the wheel and rebuilding something that had been alive that long. So we decided to move on. And I was like, okay, what do I do now? And that's when I came across, excuse me, direct response copywriting. That was initially how I got into the industry and it rang a bell with me saying, hey, I used to be a reporter for a newspaper. I was an English lit major in college. You mean I can work from home, write copy? And the first person I came across, the first coach that I hired was like, yeah, you can make $100,000 a year writing copy. And I'm like, let me check this copywriting thing out. And that's how I got started.
Interesting. Cool. So, so that how'd you turn that into? Because copywriting is, obviously it's more kind of the print type work. How'd you turn that into the online funnels work that you're doing right now?
Yeah. So I ended up, I only wrote a specific type of copy. I wrote what is considered conversion copy or direct response copy. That is where you write the copy where money changes hands, or you're trying to get a prospect to take action, download a free report or a cheat sheet or opt into an email list. So it was writing designed to get someone to take action. Um, I was writing copy for all kinds of different niches. And that was a big problem in the beginning. And I don't know, that may help some people that are watching this. One week I was writing copy for a health supplement. The next week I was writing for a fitness coach. And then the following week I was writing something for someone that was selling a product in real estate. And I was just all over the place. Well, what happened eventually was that I started working with a client that was selling an online course, and we had a really good successful launch. And I'm like, this is fun. I like this online thing. I took an online course. I've taken several online courses. They really helped me. They made me a good copywriter. Let me see if I can help other people sell their expertise online. And then I did that with enough clients, and I had seen enough different strategies that whenever someone hired me to write copy and I would start talking to them about my experience, they started inviting me to all the meetings. They wanted me on the strategy meetings. They wanted me on the funnel meetings because I had a history of seeing like what worked, what didn't work. They didn't want me just coming in as a hired gun beating the control.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So in terms of like the things that you've seen, because obviously there's a strategy and as an art behind writing converting copy, right? Versus just like informational copy. And so in terms of like things like you can talk about, and we can talk more in depth about this a little more later, but
Sure.
like talking about the things you keep in mind when you're trying to get people to take action versus just informational copy. What are some things people can take away from that in general? What are some things people are generally doing wrong on websites as far as use? Because you got these guys online who are spending, thousands of dollars on websites to get things done, and the websites don't convert for them, right? What are things you see more often that are failing on websites?
Okay, that's a great question. So there are formulas and frameworks that you can learn by reading a really good book on copywriting or taking a course if you're so inclined to, right? But it really comes down to one thing, right? There's one thing that separates, there are really two things that separate something that sells from something that doesn't. And the first thing is knowing your target market like the back of your hand. And that's not even good enough. You need to know them better than they know themselves. You need to be able to write a day in their diary better than they could write it. If you put yourself in that position, that's part one, and you create an offer, that's part two, that avatar that prospect would want, you will sell online all day long. So it does come down to the basics. I mean, we can talk about sexy funnels and ad spend and YouTube ads and Facebook ads and can you make money off of Twitter, and those are the mechanisms. Those are the delivery, right? Those are the attractors. But that front end piece of speaking your market's language and knowing them is more about knowing their psychographics, right? And demographics really don't sell unless you're doing something where you work with female clients or you work with men over 40, right? Demographics play a little bit more of an important role, but the psychographics, what kind of music do they listen to? When they wake up in the morning, what are they doing? Are they turning on Spotify? Are they talking to Alexa? Like if you know that and you put that into your copy, man, night and day difference.
I was checking to make sure my Alexa didn't go on because but no, but that's massive, man. I mean, like
Alexa, does Drew listen to John Tesh?
I don't know who that is.
There's some
You woke up. She's like, sorry, I don't know that one. That's great. Cool. Yeah, I have no idea what that is.
some
But
Yanni. Do you know who Yanni is?
yeah, I know who Yanni is. Yeah, I mean,
Of course, you know who Yanni is. No, I'm just
right. I always confuse Yanni with Weird Al Yankovic for some reason.
They have long hair. They have long 80s hair.
Yeah, exactly. The Jerry Curl type hair, right? The long, yeah. Um, no, but that's huge. No, knowing your market is, I mean, like, because you got to speak their language, like you said, right? You got to be able to talk to them and talk to their pains, and because otherwise, if you don't understand their pain, you can't understand how to help them, and you have to communicate that, right? So that's huge. So in terms of things you've seen for during COVID versus pre-COVID, like what are some trends you're seeing that are popping up now that, or maybe there aren't any real differences, but what are you seeing right now versus what you were seeing before? Or is it the same? Is it different?
It depends on what niche you're in, right? So if I can speak for me personally right now, and then maybe try to make some broader observations. This space is growing faster. Okay. You thought it was growing fast, like the online course, the online coaching, the online consultant. I think the famous stat is Forbes magazine says that the online information business, the online coaching business, was a $325 million a day market. And Forbes magazine says, and I think I have the math right on this. It's been a while. I looked at it. By 2025, it's gonna be 1 billion a day, right? So I think that was before COVID. I think, and we'll put in the comments or the notes below if my math. The point is, they were before coronavirus. They were predicting a massive expansion of the online industry, right? I think this has accelerated it. So many people I think this has been a big box shaking event for people. And I think a lot of people needed the box shaken. I'm a copywriter. I don't know. They needed this to happen to the box. Okay, this. And it kind of was like woke them up. And it was almost like, they drive the same route. They get up at the same time every day. They have the same morning routine. They get in their car and they drive to work every day and they deal with things they like or don't like at work every day. And then they drive home. This one was like, I'm waking up and I'm not driving to work. And I think that more people started exploring online opportunities in the past 6 months, 6 or 7 months. I forget how, where we're at here, 7 months, that this market has expanded faster. So that's what I've noticed on my end, in my industry.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I think I can't tell you a number of people ads I see on Facebook about like there's a new one every day with someone popping up about, hey, do your online course, do this, do that, like what can you do for your business, and make an online course. And it's at what point do you think the market gets saturated with that though, right? At what point does it become like, it's just, there's just too many of them out there, and it just stops being profitable?
It won't.
You think so?
Because you're asking a pretty deep question there, and I'll do like the 15-second answer of it, and you can
Yeah.
kind of push on it a little bit more if you want to hear a little bit more. Um, if you have a genuine skill or talent or area of expertise,
Hmm.
um, and you're solving a very specific problem that exists in the marketplace, um, you can craft an offer that is not being replicated, right?
Yeah.
And it's very unique. So um, there are probably a million freelance courses out there, right? Like how to become a freelancer. But there's probably not as many on how to become a freelance copywriter, right? Or like how to become a freelance email copywriter. I mean, like if you know the niche and you know the problem in that niche and you craft an offer for that, I don't think it's going to become saturation. Things that might get saturated. I mean, Facebook ads experts are a dime a dozen. It feels like everyone
Yeah.
knows how to do Facebook ads. Um, but I don't know, any type of offer that you create as you evolve it is going to become a unique expression of you. And it's not replicable really in many ways.
Okay. So as people are doing that, when people are creating their offers, you mentioned like refining the offers essentially over time. How much, I guess, how tough to phrase this question, but how refined do you need the offer to be for it to be something to put out there? Because people are gonna they're gonna keep tweaking it, right, until they get something that they feel like they can get out there. I mean, what's the point where they're like, what, this is good enough to offer, and then iterate on that?
Yeah, so that's a really good question too. There's something called MVO, minimum viable offer,
Hmm.
and you really want to play at the edges of what's the. It's going to sound wrong, and I'll clean it up. What's the least you can give to get a result? Okay, whether it's a relationship coach, whether you're helping someone sell online information, whether you're a business coach, what is the minimum amount that I can offer, minimum viable offer that will give my clients results? Most people think of it like, oh, I'm going to give you this and you get this and you get this. And that doesn't sell, right? What sells is, hey, you have a problem, you're trying to get to here, and you're experiencing a roadblock. I can move that and you can get here. And all you need to do is just come up with your minimum viable offer. We can get into, if you want, how you, if you're brand new, how you would start that. And if, of course, if you currently have it, what you can do. But yeah, you want to just kind of develop your minimum viable offer.
Okay. And when people are doing that, I mean, what do you advise in terms of being able to determine, because you mentioned something important, I think, and like I said, it sounded kind of bad, but I think the part people focus on is the first, like, minimum, like what's the least you can do, but they
Right.
don't realize you're still delivering the result.
I said
That's it.
result. Yeah.
Right.
The operative word in that sentence was result.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And I think people can focus on the result, not the offering. I think that's the cool thing to notice, is like you're still helping them get. You're still. It's not like you're just like, okay, what's the minimum I can do without you getting upset? No, it's about still delivering that result. Right. So how do they know what are some strategies they can use to refine that? I mean, it might not be a fair question, but
No,
what are
no,
some?
no, that's a good question. Yeah, I think I'd want to answer it this way, right? What tends to happen? The mistakes in my market. Like I can give you what the mistake, like my prospects, when they've come to me, why are they coming to me? Like what roadblock, what are they trying to fix?
Mhm.
A lot of times they spent 6 months building a course without even going out to the market, talking to the market and asking the market if they wanted it. And they're like, why won't this sell? Right. Um, there are this I heard this one recently. Not again. I was an English lit major, but if you're not making an income 10K, 20K or more, it actually should be a lot more than that before you even turn to a book. I've had clients come to me that say they spent the last year writing a book. And I'm like, well, how many students do you have? None. I was working on the book, and it's like, you know, another thing is podcasts. A lot of people try to go down the podcast route. What you need to do is get out and talk to your market. And you can do that through organic. That's the cheapest way, right? If you don't have a validated offer is something that you've sold to at least 3 people. You need to validate your offer, right? So you need 3 sales. And to answer your question directly, don't charge a lot for this. Don't do it for free. That's another mistake. That's a huge mistake. They're not going to be committed, and you're not going to be committed. Trust me. Charge is to just charge. If you're ultimately wanting to get to like a $3,000 or $6,000 coaching package, do it for $1,200, and then work with those 3 clients, and you'll know how you need to deliver the goods to get the important word result. Yeah.
That's huge, man. And that's actually gold right there. Honestly, that strategy, like just the 3 clients and then the low cost, not free. Because a lot of people, I know in the coaching industry, people err inside of free, right? And it's like, oh, let's do coaching for free because at least I get some feedback, and then they wonder why people don't show up while they're not committed to the coaching, and then they wonder why when they get the referrals, people end up being either flaking on them or not expecting them to charge as much as they end up charging, right?
Yeah,
So
and it's like Nassim Taleb. I don't know if you've heard of him. Skin in the Game.
mm,
Yeah, I mean, it's like anytime you hand out something look, I've been selling. I've been working with clients that do anywhere from 20 to 180K a month, right, in coaching business. I've tried telling certain family members like, do this, do that, do this, and it's free, and they never do it. I mean, they literally have, because I'm a family member, they literally have free access to me, like where
yeah,
I'm charging clients to talk the kind of talk you and I are having, right? Um, they don't do it. And then I had, my brother who actually just said for his own psychology, he wanted to give me something. I said, dude, you're my brother. He's like, no, man, I actually want to have some skin in the game because he knows how that principle works. And
mhm,
he was up and running. He went from 0 to 5 grand in 3 months. And then, yeah, so charge people.
yeah. No, I mean that's one of the things in coaching. You don't coach friends and family because one, they're not going to listen. They don't value it, right? I mean, it's not the same thing,
I
and
know.
it's just it's the same thing with organizations though. Like you look at organizations, you got an employee who's screaming for 5 years, hey, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. And they're like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then you bring in one consultant, and then the consultant says, hey, this is the problem. And you're like, oh, okay, you gotta fix that right away. Like it's just the outside thing. It's just for whatever reason, psychologically, it makes a difference. So no, that's great, man. So what are the biggest opportunities you're seeing right now for folks out there? With the way things are going, with the trends you're seeing, what are the biggest opportunities that the people can take advantage of and the people are missing?
Yeah, so I think that the biggest opportunity right now is to do almost the exact opposite of what everyone else is telling you to do. Do not come up with some low ticket offer. Do not come up with something that has a tripwire or a lead magnet. And then you have upsells, downsells, ODOs, one time only offers and stuff like that. That is the world most people in the beginning get pulled into. That is, believe it or not, a later stage game when you're already making tons of money and you need more eyeballs on your offer. A free plus shipping, an upsell, downsell, lead magnet, is how you do that. Most people start building that out, and that is for someone who's advanced. What you need to do right now is find your market, find their problem, put together a high ticket offer, 3 grand minimum, and sell 3 of them a month. You're at 9K working from home, teaching something that you know and hopefully love, and the sky's the limit from there.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned also the book thing, because I can't tell you enough people have told me like, you got to write a book, you got to write a book, I'm writing a book. I was doing it before anyway, but that's a different conversation, right? I'm not
Right.
doing it just to get clients. I'm doing it because it's
Passion project. Yeah.
right, exactly. And so it's like, the I can't tell you people are just like, oh, you got to write a book. Like I talked to a business coach a couple of weeks ago who was talking to me about what he does with his clients. He's like, yeah, I tell all my clients, you got to write a book. That's the first step. You got to write a book. I'm like, for what? What if they don't
No.
have anything to write a book? He's like, oh, I can get him to a book in 30 days. I'm like, about what? Like, for what? He's like, well, the book's going to get him credibility and, getting in the door. I'm like, yeah, but then he's wasted 30 days writing a book.
You're giving your people on this podcast, man. Like this is the kind of stuff that people get when they work with me, because you got me going right now. Because
sorry, man.
No. This is good though. I could talk this. You know me. I could talk this stuff all day.
Yeah.
That's enough. Dude, you went right down the absolute right path. Another thing you don't need: a name. Building my brand. This is a big one. Oh, I've got to post on Facebook twice a day. I've got to post content. And gosh, I mean, I have the proof, I have the receipts to prove it, but you don't need that. You just need, through LinkedIn or through Facebook, direct messaging and joining groups or whatever through LinkedIn, is getting in front of your offer, your avatar that you know very well, and saying the right words. They're going to hire you. The 12 Facebook posts you wrote last week, no one cares. Unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. But it's so hard, man, because there's so much information out there. It's hard to know where to start.
Yeah.
The place to start, if you're brand new, is to pick your niche, pick the problem, and then go verify with the market that problem exists, and then craft an offer that fixes it. You're going to make more money than you'd imagine.
I think one thing in terms of the niche thing, right? I mean, I got a lot of my clients I work with on the business coaching side. Some of them don't have a niche, right? They don't know how to pick one. And I'm like, start with what you know, right? Start with the area you know. And then if you don't know an area, then you're not ready for this, frankly. It's not for everybody. I think that's the other thing that I think these guys, the people out there pushing this stuff is like, oh yeah, anyone can do this. Anyone can do this. And I'm like, no.
You have to have a skill. You have to be an expert in something. You don't need to be the greatest. You don't need to be if you're like a mindset coach, you don't need to be at Tony Robbins level, right? But you need to have an area of knowledge or expertise.
Right. Exactly. And you can't just pick up and do it like with nothing, right? Like,
no, that's a whole nother. I don't work with people that are before the knowledge stage. Yeah. Cool, man. That'd be more like the freelancing, right? Then you would just get into freelancing, develop a skill, add to your talent stack. I don't know if you're familiar with Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert. He popularized the idea of what very successful people have is a bunch of individual talents that they stack, that they're not number one in, but they're like a good writer. They have a good sense of humor. Now you're a writer with a sense of humor, right? Like you just start building that talent stack. I mean, they're at that early stage. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you think about it on the kind of switching around perspective wise, that's almost an avatar in itself, right? When you create that talent stack, it's a certain avatar you're looking at, right? Like a person who has these qualities and has this ability and these things appeal to them is fascinating that way. But sorry, just random thought.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, and I think that's important to look at though, is like, what's your area of expertise? And if you don't have one, develop one, right? But I think everyone wants things now. They want things like right now. What can I do right now? Well, you can start slow, right? Start building that skill set, start building that skill stack, like you said, and get out there and see the world first and see what's actually out there before you, because I mean, I think they're looking at these folks who have these overnight successes and thinking that that's what everybody does.
Right.
And it's just, there's a reason those things happen. Those things, they're stories because they're rare, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be a story.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is too is like, let's say that you want to get into a certain industry. Well, do what you're going to one day ask your clients to do. Go hire an expert. So many people are not willing to do that in the beginning. Once you reach a certain level, you realize it's all paying someone to model what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's a little hidden secret gem right there. I mean, most people should know that by now, especially in 2020 with the age of the internet. Like, go hire a coach or a consultant or an online course to teach you how to do, like me, copywriting or Facebook ads or YouTube ads, right? Yeah.
But you're right though. I mean, they don't do that, right? Because they don't
want to pay for it. And it's like, wait a minute, but you want people to pay for you when you learn it. So it's like,
right.
It's a mind. You got to get out of that mindset.
I mean, and when I started this business, I was in that mindset, right? I was like, oh, I don't want to spend money. I'm gonna consider all the money I can possibly spend. But then you see like the acceleration of that skill set of the business is even faster when you're able to bring people on to accelerate the learning. Because you talk about the learning curve. The learning curve is much steeper when you hire folks who can help you build that
Yeah.
business, as
Yeah.
opposed to just building it on your own and making our mistakes that people have already made. You're reinventing the wheel, literally, right?
Right.
So what are you going to do? Would you rather, if you're building a car, would you rather pay someone to license the wheel, or would you want to buy the machines, figure everything out yourself, how to build the wheel, and then rebuild it yourself? You
Yeah. I
know,
mean, I mean, modeling success is the quickest way to get to the next level by far. And in my experience, I mean, you can figure it out on your own. I mean, most of us are smart enough to. It just takes a lot longer.
absolutely. So yeah, man, we're coming up to a little bit of time here. I don't want to take too much of your time. I appreciate the time you've
Hey,
invested
man.
so far. This is awesome. This has been, honestly, I mean, it's our first live stream
So
thing,
it's
but
been your best live stream.
yeah, it's my best live stream. I agree. It's my
That's
best.
right.
But what are some things you want to close with in terms of closing thoughts, or anything that you want to leave folks with to end the things here?
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of just recapping a little bit about what we were just talking about. One of my moment of clarity came by luck. I was working with a client back in the day, and they had paid into a high ticket program with a top tier marketer, and this client and I were butting heads. And he said to me at one point, he goes, "Look, man, I'm just going to give you my username and password. I need you to go see what I'm studying, and maybe we'll be on the same page." And I went in there, and um, I was like, whoa, this is deep. This is the real deal. And I got lucky on this. And I immediately called that client back and I said, I'm going to do all your copywriting for free. The project that he had hired me for, I said, it's on the house under one condition: you don't remove the password from me. And he said deal. And that was when it changed, right? And that's when I'm kind of embarrassed to say is back then, would I have been willing? It was like a $7,000 program, something like that, 7,000. Would I
Mhm.
have been willing to? I'm almost ashamed to say that I think I would have turned that down. And that program did change my life. It changed my business. Now I've added, I keep paying. I'm always hiring coaches and consultants for my own business. But
Sure.
that was that first moment that was a big breakthrough for me. And that I realized, whoa, this is how the game's really played. You pay people to tell you what you don't know.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
awesome, dude. And yeah, definitely with that client one for sure back then,
Oh
right?
man, oh, we're still friends, of course,
That's
right?
awesome.
Yeah, him and
Yeah,
I still talk, yeah, every day. Yeah, almost every day.
that's awesome. So how do people get in touch with you if they want to?
Yeah, my email's simple, John, John, at funnels.convert.com. That's John at funnels with an S, that convert.com. And if you're looking to sell a high ticket coaching program, or if you're trying to sell an online course right now and it's not working, most likely I know what's wrong there and I can help out.
Cool. And I'll put your information in the description so folks have it. But
Cool.
thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, this has been my best live stream ever.
I
So
know it's right. This is this is gonna be a tough one to beat. All right, Drew.
yeah,
Thanks, man. I
yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you.
No, absolutely, man. Thanks for taking the time. We
All
appreciate
right.
it, dude.
All right. See you, man.